they're going to take those profits and drive them into competing more aggressively in Europe. And that was Just Eat's basically rationale to say, here's why we need to overpay. It's platform 101. You're either one or two or last. Just Eat is saying, okay, well, we're not going to let you get to a number one or number two position in the United States. We're going to keep this battle going.
Grubhub being acquired by Just Eat, the kind of European equivalent of Grubhub. And there's a pretty good interview with the CEO Matt Maloney on CNBC, and there's one little excerpt here that I wanted to play about this. And is Grub really kind of overvalued here or not?
By doubling down on a winning strategy, I feel like it's only going to be positive for our shareholders, and then ultimately the Just Eat takeaway shareholders. But I think you still need to take a step back and think about, we are the most valuable asset in the world because we are the only profitable player in the world's largest food delivery and takeout market. And so if you think about the ramifications 5 years down the road, the US is a must-win market for anyone who claims to be the global leader. And so allowing a US competitor, specifically Uber, to rationalize the US market and generate hundreds of millions of dollars in profit, then that would be transported to other countries and specifically European capitals. That was an unacceptable outcome for any of the global leaders out there.
That was the whole reason for the deal. In about 20 seconds, wrapped up right there. Basically, Just Eat was looking at themselves. They're not the number one player in Europe. And they said, oh man, Uber and Grubhub are basically tied for second and third in the US, and DoorDash is number one, right? So DoorDash is about double the volume of either Uber Eats or Grubhub in the United States. So an Uber Grubhub deal makes them have parity with DoorDash. So basically what Matt, this is the CEO of Grubhub, is saying is, if Uber buys Grub, they have parity with DoorDash. They now get a very profitable food delivery business in the United States. They're going to take those profits and drive them into competing more aggressively in Europe. And that was Just Eat's basically rationale to say, here's why we need to overpay for Grubhub. The rumor is that Uber was looking at roughly a mid $6 billion valuation for Grubhub. They got about $7.3 billion valuation from Just Eat. The reason why Just Eat said we have to pay more is because they recognize that if they didn't cut Uber off at the head here with preventing them from taking over Grubhub, to prevent Uber from getting a wildly profitable food delivery business in the United States, that it would help Just Eat protect the business that they had in Europe. Will that strategy work? Only time will tell. There isn't room for three players, as we're seeing in any market, right? We saw Uber rewind the clock about now 18 months ago, where Dara, the CEO of Uber, said, if we're not number one or number two, we're leaving. And we've seen them exit a lot of markets where they are third. It's platform 101. You're either one or two or last. And so Just Eat is saying, okay, well, we're not going to let you get to a number one or number two position in the United States. We're going to keep this battle going. I think Just Eat kind of viewed it as the beginning of the end for them, where you have Delivery Hero is the dominant European food delivery player. On the last episode, I showed the CEO of Delivery Hero casting some shade on this Grubhub Just Eat deal. And so you have Delivery Hero, the big player in Europe, Just Eat, the smaller player. And then obviously Uber Eats also in Europe. So Just Eat didn't want the pressure to come to Europe from Uber to try and do something similar. Now, the irony of this whole thing could just be that Uber grinds down Grubhub and Just Eat, makes them lose more and more money, can sustain the losses and in Uber Eats longer than Grubhub and Just Eat can, and then just buys a cheaper Grubhub Just Eat business and gets to the same position, a number one, number two position in both the US and Europe in one fell swoop. So I actually, if I was a betting man, that would actually be where my money is at. Matt Maloney on this interview continues to say that Grubhub is the most profitable or most valuable food delivery business in the world. And the reason why he's saying that is because he says they're a profitable business. On the last show, I showed their earnings. The past couple quarters, they're not profitable. They're losing money. You rewind the clock a year ago to that quarter, yeah, they were profitable. But now to the current state of affairs where there's heavy competition from Uber, from DoorDash in the United States, where Grubhub has had to change its business model to stay competitive in the United States and basically do away with their profits. He still talks about themselves as a profitable company. But I think the current state of affairs is they're no longer a profitable company. They have had to do away with their profits to stay competitive, to retain market share at the presence of these more aggressive competitors, Uber Eats and DoorDash, and to a lesser degree, Postmates. So I would disagree that they are a profitable business. I don't think that's an accurate representation anymore. And secondly, again, I don't see how this changes the status quo and changes he says that Grubhub is now a more financially stable business. But there really are no accretive synergies outside of now you just joined with this European company that's kind of in a similar position as Grubhub in the United States. So then I feel like the outcome might be the same. It's just punted down the road. The can's punted down the road maybe a couple of years here where Uber just gobbles up this collective entity of Grubhub and Just Eat. We'll see if that comes true or not. Hi, this is Alex from Winner Take All. Thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the content. Feel free to leave a comment, ask us questions, and definitely make sure to join us on our next live stream.